Alright, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I'd like to say Shalom to the elect that's teaching this word in all truth, faith, and sincerity. And today, I just want to pretty much get into a lesson concerning this digital system that's coming about. Everything is really leaning towards the mark. The mark of the beast is the microchip. That's the climax of this man's plan, for him to implement this new world order. The bridge to that, by the way of him subduing the people is to chip them. So everything we see today is gearing towards this system. So I got this article today. We show that really everything is going right according to schedule, man. How this devil is forwarding this agenda. This is all part of prophecy. It's not a heavy push on, this modern form of Christianity or whatever else that's not the chip. No, this is what's being pushed. This is where the agenda is going. This digital system. People being tagged. So this is that mark. This system that's coming about. And it's going to lead to the people actually being tagged and chipped. So this is from WDSU. And it reads, Real ID enforcement set to start Wednesday. And see that word enforce. See, that is going to be the norm, hearing these words required and mandatory, or they might throw out the word compulsory. I say required. All these things go back to, really mandatory. So it said the real ID enforcement set to start Wednesday. It said the real ID enforcement goes into effect Wednesday. And now we're getting a closer look at what this means for people who missed the deadline. It said the real ID enforcement goes into effect Wednesday. And we're getting a closer look at what this means for people who have missed the deadline but have plans to travel. Many travelers have different opinions when it comes to why they believe the real ID is finally being enforced. However, TSA professionals like the Chief Adam Stahl said the enforcement starts Wednesday. Let's see. It said this is about identity and document integrity. And so we're focused on the security and safety of our skies. So you can see how they're pitching it as a form of safety, and you're trying to be thorough, and but all this is digital shackles. See, it's not just gonna lead to that. How they pitching it as a form of safety, because they're gonna put in as well, your fraud, your your identity cannot be stolen, and as well as they're gonna put you as a form of convenience, because even with this real ID, you'll be able to get boarded faster. Let me see if they have it on here. In this article, Let's see. Well, it was another article, concerning that real ID. People being born into different flights. Pretty much, you're gonna have a better transaction to, get on the flights than you not having it. And it's only gonna increase ultimately when that C-HIP is mandatory. The coming and going is not gonna be any loopholes. You able to go into this store. Matter of fact, we're going to start off with that in the book of Revelation 13th chapter. That's pretty much it on the article. It just shows how this system is coming about. There's nothing that's just the same. Everything is being revamped into this digital system. That's why you have these terms, 15-minute cities, and even when you when you paying, buying and selling, that term, the tap and pay, So this is what we at in this process. This is Revelation 13 and 16. It reads, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So that word cause of, one of the words, the definition is to constitute. So this is going to be a law. It's going to be a legislation. It's going to be mandatory. Just how we're just reading about how this real ID is now being enforced. When that jab came out, with the Crown Vic, that word compulsory was used, which is it's mandatory. It is required for you to enter to certain establishments, certain businesses, for you to keep your job, for your children to stay in school. That was on the table, when the Crown 19 and the jab was rolled out. So how much more when live bullets flying, when the mark itself is implemented, which is the microchip, it's going to be mandatory for you to buy your bag of chips, for a nigga to go buy him a pack of cigarettes. Ain't no other transaction gonna be able to do it unless he have that chip. This is what everything is heading towards. So he said that cause of all. So that's going into really it's going to be a law passed. It said, verse 17, it reads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. See? So you ain't going to be able to come and go unless you have that thing. So even we seeing it playing out, this prophecy, it's being shaped and fashioned, and it's being made clear and obvious. Even now with the real ID, with the going into these different airports, that's really just now they throwing up more obstacles for you not having it. Now they present it as a benefit for you having these, taking that next step. You having that real ID will make it easier for you in this system. When these people took that that jab for the Crown Vic, it perceived that their life would be easier. Now they can go into the store. Nigga put the mask on. It was easier for them to make that transition. They are able to continue with their comings and goings. So how much more when it's going to be required? You ain't going to be able to do nothing without it. This the time that we're in. And it's being made clear and obvious that that's that prophecy. You know, matter of fact, what's that? I think it's Isaiah 42. Isaiah 42 and verse 9. It reads, "Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them." So this prophecy of the mark, it's been spoken of when, when it wasn't as obvious and clear. Again, with the apostle and the elders, great millstone, speaking on this prophecy was, when things wasn't as popping as it was. What do you see now in the sense of how it talks about how knowledge shall be increased? Look at the technology, and you got Cash App and Venmo, Apple Pay. As I mentioned earlier, the tap. People actually do got the chip and buying and selling with it. But now this is a system as a whole that's been shaped and formed into this, man. So now we seeing that prophecy is blossoming in its perfection now. These things is coming to life concerning the prophecy of the mark. Just look how these things being set up. You got VR. The virtual reality. The Neuralink. The missing man with machine and the biotech. So, what other conclusion can you come to? It's not like they finna put it in reverse and go back with a hard push of Christianity. No, this is where that momentum is heading toward, this digital system. Let's get this in the book of Corinthians. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, it reads, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." See? Because this is how this man's, he gets the upper hand, through deception, and darkness, and secrecy. But through the Spirit and power of Yahweh by Shema Shah, the light, that's what's combating him, this understanding. And us knowing his that device was those wicked plots and schemes. Now he can't do nothing now, man. What the scripture says, the net is spread in vain in the sight of any bird. So Esau being that fowler, you setting up a trap. We see it. We see the trap. We see where you placing it. You covering up. You got bait. We see all that. So now the trap is in vain. This is how the Lord combating his devil, is by the way of this light. Seeing the trap, the snare that he is setting forth by the way of how this system is being set up. It's already that, just the everyday is required. The technology is required. You need your phone and fucking car and shit like that, Wi-Fi, just for you to have your comings and going. Some of you lacking something, you will feel it, man. So how much more with this system coming about, this digital system, this man setting up the world. You ain't gonna be able to come and go unless you got it, man. That's why we hoping on the Lord, but we can see that this thing is coming about. So, matter of fact, let's end off on this, the book of Psalms 21. Psalms 21 and 11, it says, "For they intended evil against thee. They imagined a mischievous device, which they are not able to perform." See? Was that, like I said, that device, which we know goes to a evil plot, plan, scheme. Yet, in today's time, that word device is associated with technology. That's not no coincidence. That's the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai. That's prophetic in itself. Because that evil plot, scheme, that plan is actually going to lead to that device. That device is going to lead to a device, which is that chip. Which he's not going to be able to perform. He's not going to be able to complete that, man. You know, this devil's not going to be able to complete that mission concerning chipping, the world. That's how he's going to be able to, in his mind, to subdue the people and have the people under his control is by doing that. But we seeing how these things are coming about. He's pushing it as a form of convenience and safety, But he's a cunning hunter. And according to prophecy, he's going to lose. So yeah, I can just hold this will edify, and I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Racha, Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect, the teachings word, all true faith and sincerity. Shalom.